Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. So look, I'm going to be very honest here. This was intentionally, or at least initially, my bad, supposed to be a best of 2025 video. The problem is that I don't think there was enough tangibly positive moments in 2025 to genuinely do a best of 2025 video. I hope we're not in this position next year, but legitimately, honestly, did not feel like there was enough there for a best of 2025 video. So I've always thought, if you can't do a best of video for a year, you can talk about what you hope and what you feel like the goals should be for the next year to avoid being in that situation again. So that's what this video is going to be. My goals for the Cleveland Browns, you can call them New Year's resolutions, whatever the hell you want to call them that, for 2026. Because the one thing I know for damn sure, everybody watching this video, whether you're one of the people who dislike the video right when you see it in your sub box, or you're somebody who has already commented and said, I love the videos, we all don't want to be in this situation next January. We all don't want to feel like 2026 was a waste of time, or 2026 was a waste of this player's prime. We don't want to do that. Again, we want 2026 to feel like it was worthwhile. And I think these goals, if the Browns achieve these goals, can help them have a worthwhile 2026. But before I do that, you know what I got to do. I got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code Worst Take. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. So my first thing on the list is not really related directly to how the Browns look on the field, but I do think it affects the home field environment for the Cleveland Browns. See, the relationship with the fans that this team has is one of its best strengths when managed correctly, right? When this city is 100% behind its players and its team, it can be a weapon. It was a famous weapon for this team in their conference championship runs in the 1980s. It's always been known just how dangerous of a weapon the fan base can be for the Cleveland Browns. But the last few years, and really the last 5 years, I don't think that the organization itself has done a good job of managing that relationship and has done enough to make people feel like the Browns kind of take that relationship for granted. Now, to be fair, this is not just happening with the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. This is happening amongst other teams, right? This is not just exclusive to the Cleveland Browns. It's not even exclusive to the NFL in general. We're seeing companies give less of a shit about what the people who, they're paying customers think of them as every day goes on. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's going to have a backlash at some point that's going to really make people have a reckoning with this kind of behavior at the corporate level. So again, I'm not trying to say that all of this is the Browns, right? The Browns are a larger actor, one actor in a larger problem that exists in this country in general, but they can and do have the agency to be able to fix this problem so it doesn't continue to grow within the bubble of the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns' approach to public relations has been terrible. I think it has cost them grief that they really should not be having at some points. The lack of transparency about the level of work that the coaches were putting in with all of the draft picks, including Shedeur Sanders over the year, could have saved a lot of people a lot of headaches if they would have been more forthcoming with that information. It seems like they want to be more and more closed off, give people less and less information about players who are injured, about what's going on with the team and direction of the team. And look, I'm not saying that the Browns have to be completely transparent and tell us their move and put themselves at a competitive disadvantage in order to have good public relations. But I do think a balance exists where you can have solid public relations, not have your fan base feel like you don't give a fuck about them, and also maintain whatever strategic advantage that you're trying to maintain. Having a strategic advantage, it has nothing to do with the fact that Brown season ticket holders don't even get like a nice little memorabilia thing whenever they sign up for it. It doesn't change the fact that the prices keep going up, right? That's not about competition. You know what I mean? That extra money that they're hiking up on the season tickets, it's not going anywhere but Jimmy Haslam's pocket. That's not going to pay for, an extra contract or two. This team needs to recognize that their relationship with the fan base is one of their most important assets, right? It is what separates the Cleveland Browns from franchises that, like the Cincinnati Bengals, right, who don't have the size of fan base of the Browns, or the Jacksonville Jaguars, or even like a Tennessee Texans or Titans situation where the fan base just isn't as fervent as the Browns fan base is. That is the special sauce that is the Cleveland Browns, is the fan base. And this organization over the last few years has kind of taken that relationship for granted. And I would like to see a change in approach to that relationship with the fans. Too many times I hear people just feel completely neglected and unappreciated by the organization, not even just because they're making decisions on a football level that people disagree with. I don't think you need to fire coaches to make fans happy, but because, you're not doing basic shit, right? You're not making people feel like they're getting a decent value with their season tickets. You're jacking up prices. You're making parking harder, all of this other stuff. Like when they go to Brook Park, are they going to do the thing that the Commanders did, where they made being a pedestrian to the game illegal, so that you're forced to park at the stadium and pay the exorbitant prices? Like, we're just seeing more and more price gouging behavior from the Cleveland Browns. And then it's on top of that, the public branding of the team has been, I don't think, is good over the last couple of years. And it's just making people not feel good about being Browns fans. And look, the product on the field is what it is, but if you could do something outside of that to make people feel better about the team, and I've seen it be at a better place when the team was worse, then why not do that? And I feel like the Browns have kind of strayed away from that. And I think it's very important that they don't lose that special sauce, because without the connection to the fan base that the Browns have, the Browns are just another team in the NFL that doesn't win that much. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 new goal is a revamped direction on offense. I don't think you have to search hard for people who are dissatisfied with the Browns' offensive approach over the last few years. I think it's been one of the most obvious complaints about the Cleveland Browns. And it's likely what's going to lead to the firing of Kevin Stefanski. So having a new offensive approach, having them just do different things offensively, I think will be exciting for a lot of people. I think it'll be exciting for people in that building who've been in that offense for a while. And I think it'll open up different avenues for different players to shine in different ways. I think Cedric Tillman can benefit from like an offensive change. He's like the first player I think of when I'm like, oh, the Browns are going to change the offense. Who can benefit from that? It's like Cedric Tillman. It feels like he's like a lost soul in this offense. I'm hoping that this offensive change that they hopefully undertake this year can lead to some positive results. Let's go to the next one. The next thing I have listed here at number 3 is process over hype, right? The one thing that the Cleveland Browns have been susceptible to and horrific at managing over the last 20 years. And honestly, if you look at it throughout their entire franchise history, the one thing that the Browns have been terrible at managing is the hype. The Browns do not manage hype well, whether it's hype about the season coming up or hype about individual players. When the Browns try to work with hype, it usually blows up in the Cleveland Browns' face like Acme Dynamite, right? The Browns' future has to be process oriented. And I need the Browns to focus on the process this offseason, right? If you're going to make a decision on Shedeur, make it about the process. Make it about the football on the field. If the football on the field and what you have seen on the field does not sell you that you should build around him, don't do it because his jersey sales are high. Don't do it because you'll get a pat on the back from Chad Johnson or Shannon Sharp or something stupid like that. Don't do it because it'll be easy to build hype around the team. If the reasons for building around Shedeur aren't immediately and directly football related, then you gotta abandon it. Straight up, right? When this operation dives into hype, we don't do well, right? We're not one of those franchises that does well with hype. We suck at it. So if it's not process based, if it's not football based, if that's not motivating the decision, then please stay the fuck away from it. If it is football based and you want to make the decision to lean in on Shedeur based on what you've seen on the football, okay, that's a decision that can be made, and I can live with it, even though I disagree with it. Hold on. And I can live with it if it's based on that, even though it's like, I don't see the football reason to go all in from what I've seen from him. That being said, right? Process over hype. This goes for the head coaching hire too. Don't hire a coach because you think it'll get everybody excited. Don't sit there and be like, oh, we're going to bring in John Gruden. It's going to get people excited. We're going to bring in Bill Belichick. It's going to get people excited. I don't care how excited on day one the head coach hire makes us. Winning, I don't care how good the head coach, the new head coach is at winning the fucking press conference when he first comes in here. I've seen a million coaches come into Cleveland, win the press conference, win 2-3 games. I'm over that experience, right? I want the process, right? I want you to bring in a coach and say, this is our guy because we trust that he could be a great head coach. Our process brought us to this guy. We know what we're looking for. We looked for it and we saw it in this guy, and this is what we're going for, right? The same thing goes for if you end up trading up for a quarterback in a draft. If you want to go with Mendoza, don't do it for any of he's gonna bring hype to the fan. No, it's gotta be you think he's a good enough quarterback to justify the decision. Process over hype. A lot of times, from my experience of watching this team my entire life, the times this franchise makes the biggest mistakes is when they make decisions that are trying to do more than what the original decision was meant to do, right? Hugh Jackson's probably the worst head coaching hire. Same thing with Freddie Kitchens. Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens back to back. You could say worst head coaching hires of the Browns since coming back in '99. Well, look at what motivated those head coaching hires. They brought in Hugh Jackson. He had a whole bunch of hype about being a quarterback guru around him. And the motivation for bringing in Hugh Jackson was that we could bring in a coach who's going to fix the quarterback position for us. And he has this magic and this juice around him that's going to fix this team, right? That was legitimately the thought process behind bringing in Hugh Jackson. And that blew up in our face, right? It ended up with Cody Kessler and Deshaun Kaiser and a bunch of trust me bros. The next year, to capitalize on some excitement at the end of the 2020 season, the Browns decided to bring back Freddie Kitchens to have some continuity and to continue the excitement from the end of Baker's rookie year. It wasn't really a football-based decision. It was kind of a vibes-based decision. And it blew up in the Browns' fucking face, right? We can even look at it for the draft, right? When the Browns took Johnny Manziel in the first round, I mean, Jimmy Haslam straight up admitted that that was a vibes-based decision. It feels like everything that motivated the Deshaun Watson trade was a vibes-based decision because people were tired of Baker Mayfield internally. Whenever this organization strays away from making decisions about football that are about football, right? Whenever this organization tries to do more with one trade or one draft pick or one head coach hire than what is intended, it always becomes a disaster, right? If you want to go all in on Shador, don't make it about the hype. Please make it about the football. If you want to go and trade up for a quarterback, don't tell me you want this to reinvigorate the franchise, all this goofy shit. Just tell me you think that the quarterback is simply worth the price that you're paying. If that is the motivation, then we're fine. If it's not the motivation and we're trying to accomplish all these other goals by also making these moves, then we're going to fuck ourselves. And that's where the Browns have been the last 20 years. I'm sorry if I'm cursing a lot, but I'm frustrated because I've watched this team be in the same spot for 20 years and they continue to make the same mistakes. And I see people who have watched this team for 20 years continue to advocate for the Browns to continue to make the same mistakes that they've made for the same structural systemic reasons that they've made it. It gets frustrating after a while. I try to keep my calm. I try to keep my cool, but it does get frustrating. So process over hype. It's been the franchise's number one issue. They cannot separate the process from the hype. They always combine those two things. It always ends up in trouble. Separate process from hype and make decisions that are process over hype. Just build a good football team. All right. That should be the only focus. Don't try to reinvigorate or anything. Just build a good football team. The rest will figure itself out. Number 2, build on the 2025 foundation. Speaking of process over hype, right? This 2025 offseason and draft class was the epitome, well, not the epitome, the exact kind of thing I'm talking about, right? Process over hype leading to good decisions, right? Every draft pick when the Browns had this draft at the end of the 2025 draft class, there were a lot of people upset because they did not go with enough hype decisions, right? Obviously, they went with Shador at the end with their final pick in the draft, but other than that, people were like Mason Graham, they took 2 running backs. People weren't really hyped about that draft class like other ones, but the process told them that Mason's a good football player. And so far, I believe that Mason's going to be a really, really good football player. The process told them that Carson is worth the selection. They made Carson Schlesinger, right? Same thing with Quincy Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Harold Fainer, right? So process over hype led to a strong 2025 foundation being built. And if they can add some nice pieces offensively to that foundation, maybe like putting the pieces of a real offensive line together around what they built, then they truly do have a core here in Cleveland that they can actually do something with, because not only do they have that nucleus that could be created from the 2025 and 2026 draft, you still have people left over from the last rebuild that are still very, very useful, like Grant Delpit, like Myles Garrett, obviously, Denzel Ward, right? Hopefully Wyatt Teller can reestablish himself as part of that order again. You hope the same thing with Jerry Jeudy too in the future. But the Browns, if they get this offseason right, if they get these draft picks right, they get some key things right in this offseason, they can turn it around pretty quickly because they have a lot of the hard stuff already on the roster. Now it's about putting those resources this offseason towards the offense and doing what they did in 2023 with the defense to the offense. All right, my number one thing, and I will kind of be short on this one because I went really long on this on my 2025 Good Riddance video. Ending the quarterback wars. I need an end to the quarterback wars. It's the worst thing about covering the Browns over the last couple of years. At the very least, I need a break, right? I need the Browns in 2026 to have good enough quarterback play to where I don't feel like they're desperate to fix the position. Unfortunately, at the end of this season, I don't think we're at the point to where I can say that they're not desperate to fix the position, right? I think they're at a point to where I'm concerned about their ability to fix the position. Hopefully things break the right way for Cleveland and they can get into a spot where they can get the kind of quarterback that they feel like can solidify them for the next 10, 15 years. But if we can end the quarterback wars in 2026, I will be a very happy person. You'll see my hairline get nice and straight and back to my eyebrows again. I'll have no gray hairs. I'll lose 40 pounds if the Browns solve the quarterback problem this year. That's how badly I want them to do it. But we'll see if they do. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.